talking to a gentleman today, very wise and intelligent gentleman, and he told me, he says, you know, we've got representatives from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and the 90s here tonight. And it's true, it's kind of neat to have that. Such a wide number of years that we're covering. So I will get going, I'll get off my stool here. My job has been in the past 6 years is to introduce the presenters. And I'll start off with our first presenter tonight. He was a long-time physical education teacher here at PYA Academy. Taught for 38 years. I don't know how it's possible. He's only about 40 now. He was a football coach, both as an assistant and the head coach here at PYA. Did a tremendous job. Coached basketball, baseball, track and field, and was an exceptional softball coach too. And he also was a basketball official. Did a tremendous job. He's currently the running backs coach at Hobart College. Please give a warm welcome to Mr. John Manley.
Thanks, David. Well, first of all, we just go back to the Mustangs. Best of luck this weekend for everybody. I guess we'll spot in my heart Spring Mustang football players. Be 4-0 after this weekend. Have a great game. Play hard. Have fun. I would also like to congratulate the 2017 inductees and the class and the 67 football team. It's a great pleasure to be up here to talk about the next person. Before I talk about this next person, I'd like to thank Coach Miner and Tim Gray, who helped me with the nomination. They wrote the letters of recommendation. It's an honor and privilege to stand up here and present this next award to Paul Chapman. He was a 79 graduate of PY, a three-sport athlete, and I mean a three-sport athlete. He was a great athlete in basketball, baseball, and football. In my days here at Penn, as David mentioned, 38 years, he's probably one of the best athletes I saw on a court or on the fields. Paul came from a large family. There were 10 children. 5 girls, 5 boys. I'm not going to mention all the names. They all start with P. Maybe that's why Paul was so fast, and maybe that's why he's so tough, fighting for those meals at the Chapman house. While Paul was on the field, or on the court, he was a silent leader. He was intense on the field as well as off the field. He let his actions do the talking. He had great speed, quickness, strength, athletic intelligence, and one thing you can't teach is that competitive spirit to make his team win games. On the basketball court, Paul played guard. He was a good shooter, very sound, and good defensive player. But his key was the assist. He'd rather see his teammates have success scoring points, so he loved getting his assists on the basketball court. On the baseball field, he was a very gifted outfielder. At the time of his graduation, he had the most hits and runs scored in the season. And boy, could he run the bases. I know that from watching him play softball and playing with softball with him. He was quick. On the football field, he was a dual threat on the offense. Excuse me. He was a receiver and a running back. He also played defensive back, where he received a lot of his recognition. In all his sports, he was named to all leagues. Honors. He was the captain of all his teams. He also had pride in being named to all state teams in football as a running back his junior year and a senior year as a safety. He continued playing his football at Rockwood. He started all 4 years at cornerback. He also returned punts and pickoffs. He was a captain for 2 years, so that shows his leadership. His senior year, he was named to ECAC team as a defensive back. I know he's accompanied with his wife. He has twins, Adam and Jenna. He also was a very good community person in his school district, Marcus Women, where he coached football and other sports there for 10 years. He also, very interesting, was a color guard. It's my honor and my privilege to present the 2017 inductee Paul Chapman.
I grew up a childhood friend of Paul's. Always played basketball, football, baseball together. I think I knew from an early stage that Paul was obviously a cut above the rest of us. Great baseball player, great football player, team leader. Everybody liked Paul. The athletic ability, obviously is, a cut above the rest of us. I mean, he was, like I said, I could always tell that, Paul was going to be better than any of us. I always thought that we were, good athletes, but he was, he just made it look a lot easier. I think the most important thing is what he's given back to the community.
Good evening. I want to take a moment of your time tonight. I would like to start by thanking John Manley for nominating me, Brian Meyer and Tim Gray for writing their letters of recommendation. I would also like to congratulate Michael, Butchie, Jennifer, as well as the 1967 football team. It goes without saying that there were many coaches over the years who provided me with the opportunity to succeed, whether playing junior league sports, Little League baseball, or for Penn Yan Academy. King Brennan, Steve Brewer, Victor Harris, Gary Pinion, Tom Notware, John Manley, Brian Meyer, Dave Carwick, Bill LaRock, Dave Paddock, Don Meyer, Bobby Church, and Don D'Amico were just a few of the many. Their knowledge of the game, their ability to share their knowledge with the athletes was largely responsible for our team's success and for my success as well. My older brothers, Pat and Phil, also deserve thank yous for being my role models and teachers as I grew up watching them play for Penn Yan. My younger brothers, Peter and Preston, were also there to provide friendly competition during our years playing sports together in the backyard. I would like to say a special thanks to all my teammates over the years. I consider my recognition tonight as their recognition of their accomplishments as well. Without them, I would not be here this evening. Lastly, I would like to thank my son Adam and daughter Jenna for keeping me involved in sports long after my high school and college days were over. Whether playing or coaching, sports have always been something I truly enjoyed, and receiving this honor, an honor like this makes me appreciate even more the fact that I was able to do something I loved for so many years. I'm honored and humbled by this recognition. I sincerely thank you.
I played football with his brother, Phil. They had nicknamed it. Kind of got him some respect. It's called Freight Train. Freight Train Chapman. He'd run over you. Okay, our next presenter was a two-sport star athlete here at Penn Yan Academy in football and lacrosse. Now a longtime coach here at Penn Yan. He was a varsity assistant in football and now assists with a modified football program with Harry Queener. He's, of course, the head coach of our very successful lacrosse program here at Penn Yan. He's the dean of students at Penn Yan Middle School. What a job that is. Hands are full some days. He was recently named Assistant General Manager of the United States Men's Indoor Lacrosse Team. Quite an honor. Let's welcome to the podium once again, Mr. Brian Hobart.
I'd like to start by congratulating all the inductees tonight, especially Butch. You were my idol as a kid, and in my opinion, the best player to ever play football here in Penn. Congratulations to all of you. I'm here tonight to introduce Michael Manley. Michael and I go back a long ways. When I was an assistant football coach for his father, I used to drive the equipment bus. And 5-year-old Michael would often be with me. We had some entertaining times and some conversations through his developing years. Might wrecked a golf cart once, but had some interesting times. As he grew up, I was really fortunate. I got to coach Michael for 5 years of varsity lacrosse and 3 years of varsity football. His resume speaks for itself. They'd have to make another program in order to list all of his accomplishments. But that's not why I think Michael is completely a Hall of Fame. Oftentimes, the best players on the team or in their program can get complacent and maybe take a day off in practice, maybe not put forth the best effort and get away with it. I was fortunate enough that I've seen Michael through his high school career. We were reunited with the Rochester Rattlers. We've been together internationally with Team USA in a couple of contests. And Michael is often the best player on the team, but Michael is without a doubt the hardest worker on the team. And that was from the time he was in 8th grade up until the present day. And you don't see that work ethic every day. He never took a day off. He played hurt. He accepted every challenge. I was thinking of highlights of Michael's career, and we could be here all night in both football and lacrosse. The other piece I wanted to touch on tonight was, in our lacrosse program, one of the things we talk about frequently is giving back to the game. And if you've ever been to a summer activity, lacrosse-wise in Penn, you'll see about 30 kids running around with Duke lacrosse helmets, Rochester Rattlers gloves, sticks, spikes. Because every summer Michael would come home and just give these things to kids. You know, he provided a goal for people to shoot at. Young men, young lacrosse players in this community, you know, you hear them say, "I want to be like Mike." Just a tremendous young man. I'm very fortunate that I went from his traveling partner to being his coach to now being friends. I couldn't be happier tonight to induct Michael Manley.
I've known Michael Manley since preschool at St. Mike's, and then middle school with his mother, high school with his father. After college, we were roommates in Rochester for 2 years, and now we are neighbors. Michael is a well-respected and respectful leader with high integrity, but he's an even better teammate. And I think he's such a good teammate because he's so humble. Well, we all know Penn is a lacrosse town, and I believe that Michael is the best lacrosse player to ever come out of Penn. He was an outstanding all-star football player too. Michael doesn't only lead by example, but he leads vocally. Anything that he said on the field, we all listened to.
nice. Then middle school with his mother, high school with his father. After college, we were roommates in Rochester for 2 years, and now we are neighbors. Michael is a well-respected and respectful leader with high integrity, but he's an even better teammate. And I think he's such a good teammate because he's so humble. Well, I don't know if Penny is a lacrosse now, and I believe that Michael is the best lacrosse player to ever come out. He was an outstanding all-star football player. Michael doesn't only lead by example, but he leads boldly. Anything that he said on the field, we all listen.
Thank you. I would just like to start off by congratulating my fellow inductees today and their well-deserved recognition. I'd also like to give you a huge thank you to Coach Hobart for nominating me, and Mr. Hollister for writing me my recommendation letter, and the Hall of Fame committee. Most importantly, I'd like to thank my family for this year today. First, I gotta channel my inner Coach John Manley with his hat. This has been through a lot. It's got a lot of yelling behind it. It's got a lot of flags behind it. And it's got a lot of W's behind it. Alright? Mom, Dad, there are no words sufficient enough to describe how thankful I am to you. Who I am today is strictly because of the lessons and the morals you instilled upon me through my life. I've learned so much from you, whether it was simply from watching you or interacting with you. You guys are my biggest fans, my biggest support system, and most dedicated, loving, and caring people in the world through my failures and success equally. With my dad being a coach, I know this saying well. When a coach yells at you, it means he cares about you. My dad definitely took this lesson into parenting. He really cared about us kids. With that being said, you have raised 4 amazing children, all which were 3-season athletes, all while you had full-time jobs, and you still managed to find time for us to be a family. Not only was this a sport for us kids, but this was a sport for you. I can count on one hand the amount of games my parents missed at my college career at Duke. And this being in North Carolina, that is really something to say about your dedication to me and my sport. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget my family there when I won this championship ring, and the first person who greeted me was my dad with a big hug. I mean, that I still have that picture. It means the world to me. Through my life, you've taught me right from wrong, good from bad, success from failure. You have shaped me into the person I am today, and you continue to inspire me and set an example for the man I still can become for my future and as a parent. So thank you. To my siblings, you guys made it easy for me growing up, especially you, Jonathan. You made it easy to grow up because you paved the way and taught me what to do and, more importantly, what not to do. I always looked up to you guys as role models, played the same sports, wore the same thing, mainly because they're hand-me-downs. And their success as athletes fueled my success by setting the bar high. Still today, I look up to you guys just as much as I did as a kid. Not only in athletics, but in life. I can't thank you all enough, constantly providing me with the knowledge and always being there for the advice when I need it. Again, thank you, and I love you. Alright? And to my beautiful girlfriend, alright? You've been in, I met you playing lacrosse, met her after a game, and you have honestly been my rock for the past 3 years. Went through knee surgery with her, and she drove me down to Duke and back. And I was complaining the whole time about the pain, and she's been there and she's taking care of me. So again, to all of you, thank you, and I love you guys very much. So I really hate talking about myself, not want to sit up here and talk about myself. I never had it then, which is why I played a team sport. Always been involved in team sports, and in my career today, still involved in a team. There have been many people alongside me throughout my athletic career, many of them sitting here in the stands. And recognition of those people here today is very well deserved. My JV football coach, Mr. Brandon, Mr. Peterson, varsity coaches, Coach Meyer, Coach Hobart, Coach Brewer, Coach Mumby, and Mr. Grind. For lacrosse, I'd also like to thank you again, Coach Hobart, Josh Trowley, and Coach Greener. As I mention these names, I'm sure I'm missing a few, but all these names have molded and guided me to the athlete I am today, the person I am today. Wouldn't be here without you, and nor would I be here without any of my teammates. Again, my teammates, many of them sitting in the stands today, or in the seats today. I walked on the field with all these guys, and I still have them in my life today, and every day. My best friends in my life today were my teammates on the field. Looking back at my career here, it wasn't about who was the biggest, who was the strongest, who was the fastest, how many 2 days we did, but it was about who we did it along the side with. And that means a lot to me, and I cherish those friendships and those relationships I have on the field, and now, more importantly, off the field. My roots are here in Penn Yan. I was born into Penn Yan. And everything I am today, as both an athlete and as a person, is because of what I was taught from my coaches, from my teachers, and from my amazing family and friends. I learned pride, I learned about community, I learned about what it took to be great and how to get there. What I learned here on the field, in these hallways, pushed me to go to Duke University and accelerate in lacrosse. Pushed me to be great, and lead me to being picked up by the Rochester Rattlers, Philadelphia Wings, and then getting traded to the Rochester Nighthawks. It molded me to be the person in my career today, and I can trace all these successes, and even the failures, because there were some, back to my roots here in Penn Yan. Many athletes fear failure. My mom always told me, there's someone out there better than you. And that's true. There's always someone out there better than you. When you're successful, you take success for granted and just move forward. But failure forces you to reflect. And the key to being a great athlete is learning from failure. As I said earlier to the young student athletes in the Pepper Rally today, learn to cope with failure, but don't accept it. I have failed many times throughout my career, but I've taken it and learned from it, and I've managed to come back stronger. You never know the impact of your decision in that moment. Great athletes fail in many moments, including myself. But it's ability to learn, adapt, and succeed in the next moment. Over a lengthy career, these moments add up. You only hope as an athlete you can look back on these great moments and go, man, what a hell of a career that was. And standing here today in front of you, where my roots are, I can probably say I had an absolute blast, and what a hell of a career I had. Thank you.
Our next presenter was a two-sport star athlete here at Penn Yan Academy. He was a fierce wrestler for 3 years and was a slick-fielding second baseman for the 1983 Section 5 champion baseball team that was inducted last year. Up here to talk about one of his good friends, let's welcome Mr. Bart Winslow.
out in the pack when we were growing up and went into the Red Rooster. And I was first man in, Cale's behind me, and he's standing at the bar. I go, hey, how you doing, Dave? Or how you doing, Tiger? And he looks at me, and I shake his hand. He goes, you didn't hear, it's Dave now. I looked at him. You didn't hear, it's Bart now. Where do you begin? Butch, Raymond, Ray, Butch, the Big Swede, King Kong Bundy, or, as Paul Chapman liked to say, just Bundy. Butch's athletic ability was developed in his youth on many different levels in many different and unique ways around town. And Penny and I needed growing up was a pair of sneakers, a bicycle, and an imagination. No cell phones or video games were needed, or, no cell phones were around back then. So, I'm sorry about that. Growing up, Butch grew up at 510 Liberty Street. That was the rallying point for most of our operations. Everything was launched from there and planned and executed. You forget Butch's phone number was 536-8246. Cahill was 3175. Wig was 8203, and on, but that's how you communicated back then. And everybody would meet at 510 Liberty, and we would go out. I think the statute of limitations may have expired on a bunch of these things that happened, but one of our favorite things was throwing snowballs. Butch was the catcher on our baseball team, and he had a good arm. And I think he developed the arm strength by throwing snowballs at the cemetery. His senior year, he threw out 13 of 24 runners, so he did a good job. But one time we were throwing snowballs up there, and we hit the wrong car. It was Paul Chapman. And we were young and little and not as fast as he was. Butch, being the leader that he was, led our retreat up the cemetery, over in front of Worth's Yard, back onto, I think it's Burns Terrace, and we hightailed back to 510 Liberty. We didn't operate under the credo, no man left behind back then, because Paul sprinted up the cemetery and captured Danny Bell. But we would learn the no man left behind credo. But Butch was a hell of a catcher. He developed his toughness, hell of a mean, nasty offensive and defensive lineman. Developing the toughness, we played a game down at St. Michael's on a basketball court behind a school called Irish Basketball. I don't know why I had basketball in the title, because there were no rules, zero. It was a mixture of hockey, football, and basketball. And Butch was clearly the best player on the court because he was the biggest. He had a great hook shot. He could hit that with four guys hanging all over him. He was a good basketball player. He's not getting any credit for that tonight, being football and baseball, but he hit a big hook shot in the gym over in Newark in CYO, and ended they had a UCLA winning streak of 90 games, and Butch hit a clutch shot in that game. Hook shot. Gail will take credit. He'll talk to you about that later this evening. About maybe 20 points or whatever. But in that toughness too, growing up, playing sports in school, intramural hockey was a big deal. Butch was a nasty player. We were playing in a semifinal game, and the puck went in the corner, and I went to dig it out, and I hear over my shoulder, "Get him!" Butch comes flying in, I catch him, he hits me, and the cross checks me in the back of the head. Head bounces off the bleachers. He digs the puck out, goes up the field chuckling. Mr. Manley had swallowed his whistle. There's no penalty called. A concussion. But 30 minutes later, Butch and I are taking BP. We're playing Canada. We're undefeated early in the season. And we're laughing our asses off. It
It was funny. Cardio, you know, Butch played line, you gotta be in good shape. He developed that in his youth. We would ride around town on our bicycles. Everywhere, we'd go everywhere on our bikes. Not Butch. I don't know how he developed his cardio because it was on his mom and dad's moped. That's, yeah. Shoot. Butch was good. First team All-State 1982. First team All-Greater Rochester 1982. First team All-Finger Lakes East football. First team Finger Lakes East of baseball. Butch is one of only 3 players in school history to win 3 Section 5 football championships, along with Jim Parsons and Cahill. Butch was also on the Section 5 baseball championship. That's 4 section championships. That's pretty solid. In closing, it's an honor to have been Butch's classmate and teammate, and it's an honor to still call him a friend to this day. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to present to you Butch Machesky for induction to the PYA Hall of Fame.
I've known Butch almost my entire life. He comes from a great family. His mom and dad were the best. His 4 sisters were standout athletes at PYA Academy. Butch was a classmate and teammate of mine. Butch is one of the most genuine people that I know. He's a magnificent parent. He'll do anything for anyone at any time. And he's also a lot of fun to be around. Butch, in my opinion, may be one of the best football players to ever come out of PYA Academy. From 8th grade to his senior year, the teams he played on, their record was 37, 6, and 2. Since the inception of the Section 5 football tournament, PYA Academy has had 5 championship teams. Butch was on 3 of those. Butch didn't pass, catch touchdown passes. He didn't run for 100 yards every single week, but he was without doubt the most dominant person on the field. He certainly led by example, and he was an outstanding teammate.
Good evening. Thank you, Beaver, by the way. And I promise you, this will not take long, because I'm not real good at it. First, I'd like to congratulate the fellow inductees and the members of the class of 2017 into the induction of the PYA Hall of Fame. I'd also like to say thank you to Mr. Manley for nominating me, and for Pat and Beaver, who wrote the letters of nominating me for the induction. It's truly an honor. One of my friends found out about this, and his name's Andy Over. He sent me a quote. It's amazing what you can accomplish if you don't care who gets the credit. It was a great pleasure growing up here with a great bunch of guys and a tight, talented, hard-working group that practiced and played hard together from our early days wherever we could get on the field. Nobody really cared about personal awards. Well, there might have been one of us, but he's with me tonight, so I'm not going to throw him under the bus. For anybody that doesn't know, when Bart was talking about 510 Liberty Street, myself and my family grew up where the tennis courts are, right out front. So being around Mustangs was pretty much what you did every day, whether you were playing or a little kid out there running around the fields or watching my sisters play. My first coach growing up played touch football and junior football, the 90s with my father. I would go on and had a lot of good coaches in my life, but my favorite was my dad. Taught me the game when I was young, and he taught me the game when I was young, and I'm grateful for that, was my coach and my father. An honest, hard-working man who taught me a lot over the years, on and off the field. Right behind there, my dad was my mother. She was a general of a small army. As Bart said, we had a lot of gatherings at my house, and with 4 sisters all playing sports, and myself, a lot of kids went through 510 Liberty Street. My mother always made sure that every kid there had what they needed and made it to practices on time. I'd also like to thank my 4 sisters. A couple of them aren't here, a couple of them are, and all my other family that's here. Fortunately, we all spent a week in Georgia last week marrying off one of my kids. I'd like to thank my coaches from Mr. House, starting in the 8th grade football, with Mr. Noberg, Mr. Miner, Mr. Manley, and in baseball, Mr. Church and Mr. Miner. And you know, I'd like to throw in a couple extras here for baseball, Kevin Brennan and Mr. Miner, who used to drive us to Waterloo when we were 12 years old, and it's the same group of kids that, you know, won the Section 5 championship. We could always, Mr. Miner always gave us a ride over, and it took me a few years to figure out why we couldn't ride back with him, because nobody knew what that little place called the Second Chance was. Football started in the 8th grade. We had a rough start, lost to Norton. After that, we bounced back and won 5 straight games, all by shutouts. It was pretty easy being me. We had great running backs, Tim Booth, Pat Cahill, Preston Chapman, Reed Jensen, Peter Jensen, John Whitson. I had great linemen. Larry Cluniak, Scott Nicholson, B.J. Morgan, Brian Shortup. We were just a tough bunch of kids. As a member of 3 straight Section 5 football teams, our senior year was my favorite. We went undefeated, 10-0. We beat Dansville. We were voted state champions, and it was just a great way to end our football career at Penny Academy. My senior year, in 1983, was our baseball field. A nice, easy practice was much more enjoyable than pounding football practice. The baseball team was a fun bunch. I see Mr. Myers here, and he might call it something else besides a fun bunch, because we were pretty loose. A lot of goofing around in practice. You know, like one story I got thrown back to was Mr. Miner was throwing bat practice in the gym, and after he threw the first pitch, we all started throwing baseball or tennis balls at each other. He got so mad at the end of practice he threw out Chad Calder, and he was honestly the only kid that didn't throw a tennis ball. We had fun that year, playing loose and winning a bunch of games, 15 to be exact. And I had the pleasure of catching 2 great left-handed pitchers, Reed Jensen and Mike Mason. We pitched, played solid D, and hit our way to a Section 5 finals at Silver Stadium. The final game we won in the last inning, and won the only Section 5 title for baseball in Penn. It was an amazing way to end our 4 years at Penn Academy Sports. I like to say how much gratitude I have for everyone that helped me along the way. My family, my friends, coaches, and teammates. They made my time at Penny Academy truly a memorable experience. Playing football and baseball for the Mustangs was never about me individually. It was always about the team. This may be an individual award, but every one of my football and baseball teammates shares this honor with me. I can't say enough about my teammates. I enjoyed taking the field with them every single day. They were and still are the best. Our success speaks for itself. I'm humbled to be a member of the PYA Academy Hall of Fame. Thank you.
Geneva had a real good player, a real good lineman. Lou, right? Louis Cosentino. And it was supposed to be a big matchup, Butch Machesse against Lou Cosentino. And I can still to this day, I was up in the press box, I still to this day remember watching Butch after the first time he hit Lou Cosentino. He was laughing, throwing his hand at him like, oh, man, you nothing. So Butch really was one of the best, no question about it. All right, next up is a graduate of Penn Academy. He played college basketball for 2 years at Finger Lakes Community College. He's a former Penn Am school board member. He helped develop the CYO basketball program and coached the 5th and 6th grade team to a 34-2 record back in 1992. It was that group of boys who then went on to win a Section 5 championship and advanced to the state Final Four in 1998. He then was an assistant coach with the JV girls basketball program, and on a humorous note, he holds the distinction of being undefeated as a head coach, as he had to fill in for ailing John Miles one night over in Waterloo. So he was 1-0. He then went on, if I hold out the list of things that he wanted me to read, he then went on to a long career in law enforcement, retiring 8 years ago as the chief of police here in Penn Am. Please welcome up to the podium Mr. Gene Mitchell.
Thank you. I do want to say, Butch has still got a great sense of humor, but he was a fierce competitor. I remember when I used to umpire Little League, he would be spitting and sputtering if he watched somebody walking around the mound. He'd get pretty upset. He was a competitor. I'd also like to give a little shout out to the 67-68 football team. 50 years ago, I was in this school. I wasn't physically able to compete with you guys, but I was a big cheerleader. And you guys had a great season. Congratulations to all of you. Jennifer Miles. I am honored to be able to introduce Jennifer Miles this evening. I've known Jennifer since she was a toddler. She's a very special lady. First time I was in a gym with Jennifer was at the elementary school along with her dad. John and I were going to shoot some hoops on the weekend. We walked in the gym and there was a basketball practice finishing up. Jennifer, who I'm guessing was maybe 6 or 7 years old, was watching the team on the court scrimmage. Jen's eyes lit up, and I could tell by her facial expression she was very interested in what was going on out in the basketball court. Fast forward a few years to Saturday morning, 4th and 5th grade boys recreational basketball at PYA, my first volunteer coaching job. We were struggling as a team to score points and put the ball in the basket. We only had 6 players on our team. I approached Jen's dad and asked him if Jen could join our team. After much discussion, we agreed on a 1-year contract. Jen could put the ball in the basket and beat a lot of the boys up and down the court. You could tell back then that she was going to be a player and a great athlete. We were a winning team the rest of the season, despite some complaints that we had a girl on our team. Jen's dad played basketball in college at Potsdam. Later on, I used to play men's league basketball with him. He was an excellent passer and a tough defender. It's no wonder that those seem to be 2 of Jennifer's strong traits as a basketball player. When she played CYO basketball as a middle schooler, she was ahead of the curve for her age. I used to watch her make some great passes at that level. She always had her head up looking for someone to pass the ball to. Jen played 1 year of JV basketball as a freshman. She played varsity her last 3 years in high school. She was a consummate team player with a quick first step, great ball handling skills, and a great athletic ability. Coach Church rarely took her off the floor when he substituted. Jen was also a smart player with great court sense and an awesome vertical leap. Her team won the sectional championship her senior year. She was named most valuable player of the tournament, even though she was not the high scorer in the championship game. In the championship game, it looked like the opponent's coach wanted to make sure Jen wasn't the one who beat them. Jen had some talented teammates. I remember Diane Peck and Corey Spike being a big part of that team. Over the years, Jen and Corey had perfected the pick and roll. I believe they executed it well that night, with Corey being the high scorer with 18 points when they won the Section 5 title. Along with being a team captain for 2 years, Jen was a 2-time All-Finger Lakes selection and an All-Greater Rochester All-Star team selection her senior year. Jen was invited to play a Ronald McDonald Benefit All-Star game in Rochester. She was recruited and received a scholarship to continue playing at Damon College in Buffalo after graduation. They were a powerhouse NAIA team, and the college had an excellent academic program for future physical therapists. During Jen's high school basketball career, she scored 922 points, had 139 steals, 413 rebounds, and 342 assists. Jennifer was also an outstanding soccer player during the fall sports season. During the spring sports season, Jen was a key member of the track and field team. Jen excelled in the high jump and hurdles, often winning 3 events at a meet. It's been 22 years and she still holds the school record for times in both the 100-meter and 400-meter hurdles. Jen decided to play lacrosse her senior year, no doubt disappointing her track coach and many others who thought she could have been a sectional champion in track her senior year. Her speed and athletic ability helped the lacrosse team win a league championship. Not too many athletes can switch sports their senior season and become an impact player like Jen did for the lacrosse team. Jen was the recipient of numerous postseason awards, including 2 Girls Athletic Association Varsity Club Awards, the Nora Michelle Bartlett Award in track and field, and the Girls Coaches Trophy in 1995. Jen was also an academic star in the classroom. She was involved with many school activities, promoting a positive image for many to follow. On occasion during her school years, she could be seen pedaling her unicycle around town with a pet ferret on a leash running along beside her. These days, thanks to social media, Jen can be found doing some serious vertical rock climbing or chasing the wind and waves around the road with her kiteboard surfing gear. No surprise, she's really good at that also. I'm glad she was able to make the trip home from Oregon, where she works as an accomplished physical therapist. Please join me in welcoming Jennifer Miles as a member of the 2017 PYA Athletic Hall of Fame.
Jen played 3 years for me for varsity basketball. Jen was a great player, great team leader. Not only played at the offensive end, but played very well defensively. Well, Jen's one of the best players that I ever coached. She scored over 900 points in her career, had over 400 assists. Like I said, she led our team her senior year. I think she played 72 games, of which she won about 60 of them, culminating with a sectional championship her senior year.
Thanks, Jean. I'm sure everybody needed to hear about the unicycle and the fair. So, I'm honored to be here tonight with all of you, and again, congratulations to everybody else who's 2013 Hall of Famer. It's pretty cool. I feel like we need a little girl power up here. Yeah. Yeah, right, Faye? As a country and world traveler, I've been asked the question, so where are you from? A lot, sometimes daily. After explaining that PYA is not in Asia, it turns into a pretty easy answer. I don't know if you guys get that, but I get it all the time. PYA. I grew up in a storybook town in upstate New York, I tell them. We knew every student in our class. We had an amazing support from our community with athletics and actually any event. We were able to participate in almost any activity we wanted to try. For example, Jean stated, growing up as a gym rat, I had no business being in the drama club, and Corey Spike can surely attest to this, but I gave it a shot in middle school, and I enjoyed it. I probably wasn't invited back, but I enjoyed it. We were interviewed by the WFLR radio station after games. Actually, Dave Garvey, I saw you here somewhere tonight. You should get some credit for my college scholarship, as my Damon basketball coach actually heard my name on the radio on a hot shooting night, apparently, and that reminded him that there was a tape in his pile that he has never watched, and he pulled out the old VCR tape that night and gave me a call the next day. PYA Penn, we always had abundant support from the local newspaper with great coverage all the time. In fact, they even let me back up my wonderful friends singing the national anthem before basketball games our senior year. I'm not sure why Mr. Church let us do that, but I really appreciate it. So I just didn't realize until now, until meeting other people, I guess, or not now, but after high school, met so many people from large schools, big schools, who wanted to play 3-4 sports and weren't able, didn't have the opportunity, couldn't unless they gave, went to camp and started playing when they're fifth grade or earlier. So we were really lucky to be able to try everything we wanted. And this truly is an amazing setting to shape kids growing up and give them a variety of opportunities. I've taken all these experiences and lessons learned with me on this journey called life, even singing off-key in the Pirates of Penzance for Corey. Right here, I learned how to accept a challenge, how to lose with class, how to push my body and mind further than I ever thought I could, how to laugh and dance with teammates, even to Harry Belafonte running out for basketball warm-ups, how to handle pressure and remain even-keeled, how to celebrate, and how to be patient. Well, who am I kidding? I'm still working on that one every day. It wasn't a big game-winning shot for me. It wasn't the hurdle second shaved. It wasn't forgetting my shorts at sectional basketball game. But it was the entire experience that Penn Yan and this school provided for all of us and probably all the other inductees here today. I still use all the traits I learned here daily in my adult life. Teamwork, cheerleading, goal setting, all come in quite handy as a physical therapist. I'm a physical therapist out in Bend, Oregon, and I love it. It's always been my motto to work hard so you can play hard, my entire life. I worked hard in school and college to play sports I loved. Now I work hard as a PT in Bend to play in Central Oregon as much as I can. My sports have changed a bit, as Jean mentioned. I hung up the high tops and now I'm passionate about rock climbing, kiteboarding, and mountain biking amongst others. But the concept remains. Not only do I work hard to play hard, but I also incorporate as much play into my patients' treatments as I can every day. It's a lot of people I want to thank for helping me become who I am today. First and foremost, the Miles family as a whole, for teaching me how to play, be silly, and have high fun factor in everything we do. I also like to thank Corey Spike for being by my side on every bus and practice and game, and that means the most to me. Miss Coop, you're out there somewhere, aka Gooter, for all the miles of smiles and having the guts to put me on the penalty line in a shootout when I was only a sophomore. That really helped build my confidence. Thank you. Mr. Church, for pushing me hard, yet always making time for laughing and wisecracks before and after practice, and teaching me to look at the big picture and not get caught up in the details all the time. My track coaches, Terry Test, Marty Gibson, and Tom Smart, for teaching me how to multitask, improve my time management, and make me run those extra hills after practice, even though I was most likely mumbling something under my breath some of those days. Mrs. Queener for throwing a lacrosse stick in my hand, putting time into me in my senior year when she had a whole troop of youngsters that could cradle circles around me, but she gave me a chance. She put time into me and tried something new, and it was an awesome season. And most of all, Mom and Dad Miles, where to start? Don't have enough time for all you guys have done for me. Driving me all over recreation in the state of New York and up and down the East Coast. Mom's amazing pregame, protein-packed meals, and pep talks. Dad's coaching me from when I was too little to hold a basketball, lowering the hoop to peanut level and raising it each year as I grew. Allowing me to take the SAT test in the middle of a track meet, and always teaching me humility every step of the way. Your love and support has been my foundation on which I've built my life around. And I thank you guys, I owe you everything. So thanks again, this amazing recognition, and allowing me to be part of this storybook tale. The rugged terrain and mountain peaks have wooed me to the west, but Penn Yan will always be my home. Thank you.
before we get to our final presenter tonight, which is going to be the 67 football team. A couple things. We'll be calling you up here, gentlemen, one at a time. We've got the current football players who are going to be reading the names of author certificates. When we hand them to you, please make a line down here. But that's after Jim speaks. So before I call Jim up, I think Mr. Mumby would like to play the video.
It was definitely, the word is team. We had some good players, probably not great players, but when we put it all together, we were pretty darn good. As everybody says, you know, there's no I in team, and that's the way we tackled it.
We knew going into the summer that we had to work hard, and we did. We hit the weight room, and I think we just played within ourselves.
Jack Marshall was the head coach. He had been head coach for quite a while at Penn Yan, and Coach Marshall was one heck of a guy. I got to know him, and he was like a second father to me. I spent a lot of time with the man, and sometimes he's chewing me out, and a lot of times we were game planning, but we got pretty close, and he was quite an individual. And I think if you talk to all the guys on our team, to a man, they respected him quite a bit.
Jack Marshall, Russ Soper, Dave Courier, Steve Brewer was helping with the special teams. Marsh Harris was our scout. I think probably the thing that I took away from that the most was that Mr. Marshall was an incredible motivator.
Well, as we've talked about over the years with the guys, as we get back, we always seem to go back, at least I do, to the Seneca Falls game, which was the next to last game. Seneca Falls was a good club. I think we were 5-1 going into that game, and they were like 4-2. Went over to Seneca Falls, and they played us really tough. In fact, they probably outplayed us the first half. We were fortunate enough to tie it up at halftime, 13-13, and Coach Marshall took us on the bus instead of going in the locker room, and it was probably one of the most inspired speeches you ever want to hear in your life.
I won't say what he said, but we came off that bus and we kicked their butts.
Because as I told the guys, I thought he was going to blow the windows out of that bus. I mean, he had us so fired up. We were ready to do anything we had to do to beat Seneca Falls that second. We ended up beating them 28-13. Our defense shut them right down, and our offense, we just controlled the ball for the last 2 quarters, and they didn't have a chance against us. Then the other thing that we got to roll into is the last game of the year. So it was Geneva beat Mount Carmel the night before the night before we beat Minders. So Mount Carmel had 1 loss and their season was done. Geneva had 1 loss and we had 1 loss. So whoever won the Geneva Penn Yan game was going to be co-champs with Mount Carmel. Of course, everybody thought Geneva was going to kick our butts because they had just beat Mount Carmel 25-0. So they were probably the favorite coming in, but they came over to our house here and we just put it to them. Our defense shut them right down, 20-0. They scored no points. And our offense was just good. I mean, we were good. We weren't dominant, but we were good enough. We scored 20 points and shut them out, and we ended up being co-champs with Mount Carmel, and that was quite an accomplishment for us. So out of the 20, 16 scored touchdowns this year. So that tells you what a team accomplishment it was. There was no real individual stars. So 16 out of 20. We scored 287 points in 8 games. So if you do the math, that's 36 a game. And our defense only gave up 74, so that was only 9 points a game. So, and the funny part about it was, as strong as our offense was at scoring points, for some reason or another, there was nobody made the all-conference team on offense for some strange reason. But it just goes to show you what a team effort it was.
So our final presenter tonight, this evening, was also a graduate of Penn Academy, starting in football and baseball. He was an honorable mention all-conference halfback on that football team. In baseball, he helped his pitcher Don Shipman to a perfect game and a no-hitter, and Ronnie DeVette also to a no-hitter. He's back home this evening to tell you about the 1967 football team of which he was a member. Let's give a warm reception to Mr. Jim Blank.
First of all, I'd like to welcome everybody here tonight. It's truly a special event to be at and a great honor to be here. Thanks to the Hall of Fame Committee, the high school for putting on the dinner and hosting this event, and everyone else that's been involved. Congratulations go out to all the other inductees. I'd like to give a little special thanks to the committee that helped put this together for us to get this team nominated. Brian Legg, you saw in the video, Bruce Kastner, Tommy Morris, and Brian Hawley. Special thanks also to Richard Joslin and Jerry Turner, who wrote our letters of recommendation. I'd like to apologize a little bit ahead of time because they only gave me 5 minutes to talk about this team and why we're a Hall of Fame caliber. But I think it'd be a little bit of an injustice. But I'll try to keep it under an hour. Just kidding. I know we have to get the Mustang football team home in bed early tonight for the big game, and I can surely attest that the Angels from the '67 team out here, we were always home early and tucked in. You'll get to meet the rest of the team a little bit later, the student trainers and the managers, which are all part of it. I'd like to mention a couple real quickly. One of our team managers, Carol Covey Graves, he was coming tonight, but he had to cancel because he had Hurricane Irma damage. And he was really bummed out not to be here. I also talked with our line coach, Dave Courier, a couple weeks ago. He's 80 years old, and he's doing well in a nursing home down in Florida. Also, a special thought to 5 of our team that are no longer with us. First and foremost, Hall of Famer in 1967, Coach of the Year, Jack Marshall. Gary Fox, who was a halfback and cornerback that we lost on Easter weekend of his senior year. Ricky Gray, whose sons Chad and Brian are here tonight. Jimmy Mahan, who's a tackle and place kicker, whose sister Alice McCurcher's here tonight, I guess. And student trainer Mike Gillard, whose sister Mary Gillard Nielsen is also here. Thank you all for attending and being part of our team. Now let's go back 50 years in time. It's our golden anniversary from the '67 season. There was always a lot of optimism at the start of every season. However, we were coming off the 1966 season where we were 1-7, which everyone would call the prototypical rebuilding year, following the 1965 championship season. The '65 team was big. Big backs, big linemen, big everything. They were the gold standard of what we knew about a championship team. We watched them, we practiced with them as JVs, and some of us even got to play a little bit with them. But we weren't big at all, like they were. And we surely didn't have 2 All-State players and Penn Hall of Famers, Harry Goodell and Bill Rock, like they did. We were actually a very small team. The preseason prognosticators didn't have us in their sights. Headlines said, quote, line a question mark, backfield inexperienced. Size and depth were also concerned, they said. Size for sure. Our ends were bigger than our guards, and our middle linebacker weighed in at 143 pounds, or so the program said. Much hard work, dedication, and commitment went into the preparation for the season, though. But you have to start somewhere. That was in Avon on a Saturday morning for a controlled scrimmage against Avon and Notre Dame of Batavia. The Notre Dame coach told Coach Marshall that he had a tremendous powerhouse going into the season, and that we should be prepared to take a licking, as they were going to have their way with us and Avon on that day. That didn't sit real well with Coach, so he shared that with us. They may have had their way with Avon, but they didn't with us. We had a new defense we were implementing. and it worked. We stopped them cold, and our offense pretty much scored at will. Enough of Notre Dame of Batavia. Their coach was so upset with his championship caliber team that he called off the scrimmage early, put them back on a bus, and sent them back to Batavia for more practice. We were off to a good start leading into the beginning of the season. But we had a few issues going into that first non-league opener against Bath. Gary Fox was injured in that scrimmage, and he was not going to play at right halfback. Lee Collins was going to sit out at right halfback for doctor's orders. That was not a good omen, because I had to start as the third string right halfback. Remember what I just said a little while ago about backfield inexperience headline? Well, it all turned out okay. I had up almost 100 yards rushing. Freshman Morris Collins, Lee's younger brother of the famous Collins family, had a school record 79-yard pass interception for a touchdown, which was his first touchdown of the school record that stands today for most points scored in a career. The defense without Gary Fox and injured lineman Ricky Gray, probably our two best athletes, held Bath to 68 yards of total offense in a 33-0 rout. Great start to a season with a win, but the prior 1-7 seasons start out with a non-league victory too, and then 7 losses in a row. The seniors on that team had already experienced that. There was a long way to go. Then we started out in week 2 with our first league game against perennial powerhouse Clyde. They were the obvious favorite. We were still an unknown entity. The fans, well, at least our fans, loved the game though. The Chronicle Express called it, quote, probably one of the most exciting games ever played since the sport had been played here. Almost 800 yards of offense. Clyde was up 26-25 in less than a minute to play. Then the bubble burst with an interception. But we get the ball back with a fumble recovery. Down to 41 seconds, but we were 44 yards away. A couple of Brian Leg passes, Brian Hawley going out of bounds at the 3-yard line with 5 seconds left. Then we cross up Clyde's defense and didn't throw. We ran Morris Collins off tackle for the winning score with no time left on the clock. A big win to start the conference schedule against a very worthy opponent. Week 3 was DeSales. Bear with me. Just for a few more minutes. It's only an 8-game season, it's not a baseball season. After this game, the Geneva Times headline was Penyan for real. It was a 59-6 rout. Scouts from all the other teams we played in agreed. Lee Collins had a 100-yard game. Gary Fox had 3 interceptions, and 8 different players scored touchdowns. The next week was Mount Carmel of Auburn. A few tidbits about this game before we talk about it. They were the 66th league champs with a 15-game winning streak on the line after 3 seasons. They had a 315-pound middle guard. Remember my comment a minute ago about how small our guards were? They had a Parade Magazine High School All-American at left defensive end, and their 3 running backs were bigger than our 4 linebackers. However, it was 6-6 with 4:42 left in the 4th quarter. Billy Whitaker had legged, or better yet, lumbered a fumble recovery 55 yards for our lone score. Our running game was stymied as our guards were out or playing hurt. Then the big bubble burst. They lined up for a 43-yard field goal on 4th and 5. We were well prepared for the fake, but they didn't fake it. They actually kicked it. No one ever kicked it one that long in the Wayne Finger Lakes League. And for that matter, pretty much no one even kicked extra points. Remember, this is back in the days when we wore leather helmets. This was long before there were soccer-style kickers. It broke our back, not our spirit. It was a tough loss. Week 5 was against Waterloo. Lesser teams that would have folded up their tent and gone home, but not us. Another blowout, 47-13. They threw the ball 33 times and we had 5 interceptions, which to this day is still the school record. I had 3, Andy Cook had 1, and Gary Fox had the other. Brian Legg set a school record with 4 touchdown passes that also stands today. Well, at least it did till a few weeks ago. Will Rogers tied. Both these school records still stand today, 50 years later. The next week was against Lions in week 6. A big day offensively and defensively. The interior line was outstanding on both sides of the ball. Brewer, Brzezinski, Kastner, Morris, D'Amico, Gray, Richmond. They held the Lions to only 23 yards of offense and opened huge holes for 9 touchdowns, penny in 62-0. A school record for points in a game that stood until 2003. Week 7 was against Minders. You saw some of the guys talking about the game there. It was a really tough game against a really good football team and probably Coach Marshall's closest rival. We score as the clock winds down to the end of the half to tie the score, and then Coach blows up the window of the bus with what one might call a very inspiring halftime speech. That motivation pushed us on for a big second half victory, and maybe our best half of football. A big surprise was also when Geneva knocked off Mount Carmel 25-0. Oh boy, that'll be fun. We played Geneva the next week after they had crushed the only team that had beat us. We would definitely be the underdogs. Week 8, this game traditionally is a championship game with Geneva all by itself. They were a much bigger school, but and always a big rival in every sport. Winner of this game would be co-champs with Mount Carmel. An early touchdown and a Bob Parmalee black punt for a touchdown in the first quarter was all we needed as the defense shut out the much bigger Panthers with less than 200 yards of total offense. Pat Chapman intercepted a pass in the end zone to seal the 20-0 shutout. Tom Morris and Bruce Kastner, our captains, were awarded the American Legion Trophy, emblematic of the winner of the final game of the season. Penny was also Wayne Finger Lakes co-champs. I don't know if you can really do a post-mortem on the season 50 years later, but here are a few items that stuck out in my head when I looked at it. 24 school records were broken that season. The 287 points we scored nearly doubled the points that the gold standard team from 65 had scored. But one interesting seems fitting for a great team effort. 17 players, over half the roster, scored points that year. That also is a school record that stands today, 50 years later. We had our share of all-conference players. Ironically, no player made first team on offensive side of the ball despite all the points we put on the board. Truly a team effort, no individual stars. Gary Fox, Bob Parmalee, and Fred Johnson were named to the defensive team, and I shouldn't leave out mentioning the defense. We only gave up 74 points in the season and had 3 shutouts. It was truly a team effort from top to bottom, offense to defense to special teams, with leaderships on both sides of the ball. The Chronicle Express and the Geneva Times highlighted the stars of the game every week, usually the ones that make the big offensive plays for TDs, but everyone on that team had their day, as I mentioned a few tonight, and I apologize if I didn't mention everyone. Whether it was recovering a fumble, stopping a big drive with a timely tackle, kicking an extra point, just realizing the extra effort on a key block to open a big hole for the back, or standing on the sidelines knowing that as a second stringer or an underclassman, you push the starters to be better during practice every day. These were the little things done by everyone that added up to making a great championship season, a true team effort. Congratulations to all my teammates. Thank you.
He reminded me of that Clyde game. I was a 12-year-old kid up in the old wooden bleachers, up in the top of the bleachers, and Brian Legg was the quarterback, and I kept looking at the clock. And the clock's running down. I said, snap the ball, snap the ball! 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Snaps the ball, hands it to Collins. Moose goes into the end zone for the winning touchdown. Everybody's cheering. But yeah, that was quite a year. And of course, Minders, they used to run out of the wishbone, Georgia Davis and 3 yards in the cloud of dust. On Balance Line, yeah, they were quite a talented group. At this time, we're going to have our current football players come out here and read, I think 3 at a time. They're going to be introducing the players. If you would come up. We also have people here that are representing the family members. If we read your name, you can come up here and join us here on the stage. Okay, gentlemen?
Good evening. My name is Isaiah, and it is an honor to recognize Walter Bullard. It's also an honor to recognize Jim Blank. And it is also an honor to recognize Bob Breeder.
Good evening. My name is Jack Peterson, and it is an honor to recognize John Brzezinski. It is an honor to recognize Tom Butcher. Lastly, it is an honor to recognize Rod Campbell.
Good evening. My name is Kyle Ingram. It is an honor to recognize Bruce Cassidy. It is an honor to recognize Pat Chapman. It is an honor to recognize Dick Clausen.
Good evening, my name is Will Rogers. It is an honor to recognize Lee Collins. It is an honor to recognize Morris Collins. Here to accept this award is his son, Chris. Lastly, it is an honor to recognize Andy Cook.
Good evening, my name is Connor Finger. It is an honor to recognize Peg Hotz. It is an honor to recognize Don D'Amico. It is an honor to recognize Tom Edminster.
Good evening, my name is Spencer Christensen, and it's an honor to recognize Gary Fox. It's an honor to recognize Mike Gillard. And to his accept his award is his sister Mary. It's an honor to recognize Carol Graves.
Good evening, my name is Andy Rossi, and it's an honor to recognize Ricky Gray, and to accept this award is Chad and Brian Gray. It is an honor to recognize Brian Hawley. And lastly, it's an honor to recognize Jax Jensen.
Good evening, my name is Brent Braley, and it's an honor to recognize Fred Johnson. It is also an honor to recognize Alan Kurtz. And lastly, it is an honor to recognize
Brian Legg.
Good evening. My name is Keith Fuller. It's an honor to recognize Jim Mahan to accept this award as Alice McKercher. It's an honor to recognize Greg McMillan. It's an honor to recognize Curtis Morgan.
Hello everyone, my name is Dylan State, and it is a pleasure to recognize Tom Morris. It is also an honor to recognize Nate Bowman. It is also an honor to recognize Rick Collado.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Andrew Aaron, and it is an honor to recognize Bob Parmalee. It is also an honor to recognize Parker Reynolds. And finally, it is an honor to recognize Steve Richmond.
Good evening. My name is John Bucci. It is an honor to recognize Calvin Sands. It is also an honor to recognize Don Shipman. And lastly, it is an honor to recognize Skip Soccer.
Good evening. My name is Paul Giovini. I'm currently the head varsity football coach. It is an honor to recognize Coach John Marshall tonight. It is also an honor to recognize Coach Dave Currier. And finally, it's an honor to recognize Marshall Harris.